Hello, this is teddygaming and welcome back to another review on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles TMNT vs Street Fighter issue number 3. And yeah, I won't lie, this was another issue which I did pretty much just wait until the day of recording this video to actually read this issue, and I didn't really have too much interest in reading this one. I mean, I read the preview pages for this issue and there wasn't really too much in there that was really hooking me onto this issue. And even after reading this issue, I can't really say that I'm excited for the next issue. Like, there's stuff in there that I'm a bit like, oh, that could be interesting, but at the same time, it's just not really hooking me onto like the future for this series. And that's a real shame, just because I do want to look forward to this one, but it is increasingly hard to get excited for this stuff. But the overall story for this issue was pretty decent for the most part, but I just don't think it's one which I'm going to be going back to too often or anything like that, but you know, it's alright. Okay, so for the actual review itself, I'm going to do it in two parts just because that's basically how this whole issue is played out. So I'm going to do the whole stuff with the Turtles and Street Fighter, and it's a little bit interesting. So we do have Mikey and I think it's Gully. They basically run off and going after this one soldier who's been left behind, and they're going around the city, the fairground and stuff like that. Do go after him, and we do get to see Mikey and do sort of explore his character a little bit here. We're showing off that he jokes when he's a bit scared, nervous and all that, and when he's serious, he gets really serious and stuff like that. And with this bit here, I do think it's pretty cool to see that they are developing Mikey as a character and stuff like that. But at the same time, because this universe and this comic universe and all that, I do feel still that because with stuff that's happening in this series, I think that this is this own version of Turtles. And if it is the case, then I do feel still that it's a little bit weird that they're trying to develop Mikey here. But it's good, but at the same time, it just feels weird. And the reason for that is just because I just don't really feel too much connection with this version of Mikey just yet, but I doubt I will, so it just feels really weird. But it could have been interesting had they done more stuff with this version of Mikey and it actually been connected to a different version of Turtles, but it is what it is. Meanwhile, we do have the other Turtles and Street Fighter characters. They found out that basically, people who are behind all this stuff with the soldiers, they're part of a Street Fighter army or something, but it's always going against the Street Fighter people. So the Street Fighter people and the Turtles, they go down into the sewers, they're going after these soldiers, and we actually catch up with soldiers and actually start fighting them. And I must admit, for the image which it did use, it was actually really cool to see Jennifer using the claws and all the other characters fighting them. It was a little bit weird that Donatello was using his fists and not using his bow staff, but other than that, I thought it was a really great image. And whether I'll send things up with where they're going next, it could be interesting, but you never know how the series is going to be playing out. But overall, this bit here was pretty decent for the most part. And going into the next issue and stuff like that, I'm not too sure what to really expect from all this in terms of this side of the story. Just because I do feel that going into the next following issues, it could go in multiple directions, which I do suppose could be good and really interesting. It just really depends on how they play it out, just because with where they send things up and how much time they do have left to really sort things out for the story, it could go either way, and I don't know if I should be looking forward to it or not, but I am somewhat looking forward to it for the most part, so yeah. Okay, and then for the other part of the story, we do have stuff with Raphael, Chun-Li, Stockman, and then Bibson, and this part was honestly the most interesting part. Also at the same time, the part which I do somewhat have a little bit of problem with the ending, but also with what they're setting up for the future for this series, for the last two issues with this side of the story, it could be interesting, and depending on whether they do take the storyline, it could go either way, whether it's going to be good or bad. But it's just, I want to say it's interesting, but I'm not too sure if that's the right word to use. Okay, so with this bit here, we do get to see Raphael and Chun-Li. They've been kidnapped by these soldiers and they're walking out, and we do get to see Stockman and Bibson, and they're arguing again. And I must admit, I was really surprised by this in a really great way, because we do get to see Bibson just slaps Stockman in the face, and I don't know why, it put a big smile on my face. Stockman's always had that attitude that you could slap him, and it's so great to see a character actually do it. And If anything, I'm quite surprised not many more people have slapped him before, but either way, this bit was actually really good. I can't even deny it. They're so great and interesting. But then after that, we do get to see where Raphael tries to escape, M. Bibson basically knocks him out and stuff like that. So then after that, we do get to see them arguing again with M. Bibson and Baxterman and what they should do next. So Raphael and Chun-Li, they do use this as an opportunity to fight them. Now this bit here, I must admit, was pretty cool because we do get to see Raphael vs M. Bibson again, and I think that the fight bit was pretty okay. I did feel as though that with what they did in the actual scene itself, it did feel like very short, but I know that had this been like a longer story or something like that, then I do know that this fight could have been like really cool. But we do also get a fight between Chun-Li and Stockman, and I can't even deny it, the fight scene was amazing. The scene like Chun-Li like using like, I don't know, because I haven't really seen too much Street Fighter, and I've only seen bits of her in the like, I want to say issue 1 where she was fighting Mikey, so I do think it's like really cool to see her like fight more, but also using, I don't know, I think it's like really cool to see her fighting in different ways. And then not to mention, Stockman is actually doing something useful and is actually able to fight, which you don't really get to see that too often. So again, like so many great things happening in this fight scene. I can't deny it. I must admit, I'm still talking myself into liking this issue a lot more now, but yeah, I can't deny it. It was a really great fight scene. But then after that, we do get to see Raph and Chun-Li. They do escape. Raph tells Chun-Li to go off and find the Turtles and other Street Fighter characters just because she knows about M. Bibson and stuff like that. And Raphael's going to stay behind, take on all the other soldiers, and that's pretty much where we do like set things up for the next issue with that type of stuff. And with this bit here, I do feel as though that it was like a really great natural ending point for like the halfway point for this series. At the same time, I do feel as though that with this ending here, this feels as though that it's like, I don't know what to really like describe it as, but like, I do feel as though that for like next 2 issues, it feels as though that this whole thing is going to be really rushed, which I don't want it to happen like that, but I just got that feeling with the way that they're like dealing with all of it. And then for the last bit, we do get to see that M. Bibson is talking to Stockman about basically powering out the like the psycho bomb and stuff like that, and he's saying that basically like these chambers have been released, and one of the first people he like captured was Shredder, and we do get to see Shredder comes out. And with this bit here, I don't really know what to really make of it, because on the one hand, I do think that this could be really cool and really great to see like Shredder in this universe and fighting and stuff like that, but at the same time, because I know that like with some covers for this comic series, they're all promoted it as a IW like comic crossover and stuff like that, and also set in the IW comic universe. But the thing is with that is that Shredder is going off into Dimension Z like currently, or has been in Dimension Z for quite a while now. So I do feel as though that if this is actually set in the IW universe, then I do feel as though that it's just going to pretty much ruin a lot of things, and I don't really know what to really make of it, but I just hope that it's not set in the IW universe for this specific reason. But if it is set in its own universe, then I do think that this could be cool, but at the same time, I'm not too sure what to really expect. And the reason for that is just because, again, I don't know too much about Street Fighter and stuff like that, so again, this could be really cool seeing Shredder get the psycho power and do stuff with that, but at the same time, I'm not too sure what to really expect or anything like that, so it could be interesting, could not, I don't know. But yeah, I must admit, overall, this whole issue has been interesting for the most part. I do feel as though that throughout this whole review, I've been talking myself into liking this issue a lot more than what I was thinking I was liking it. But I must admit, overall, it has been a pretty decent issue, which I do enjoy for the most part, but I just feel as though that with my lack of connection with like Street Fighter and lack of knowledge with it, I just feel as though that I'm just not really interested or invested in this series anymore. But, you know, I've only got 2 more issues left, so it could be interesting and great. It just really depends what I'll do with next issue, just because, you know, with how they set things up for next issue, it could either go one or 2 ways, where it could be a really great issue setting things up for the final issue, or it could be a really rushed thing which is set things up for last issue, which, it's going to go one of those 2 ways, and I don't know if I should be looking forward to that or not, but I guess we'll see. But yeah, that's going to be it for today, guys. If you're something, please share, like, subscribe, and all stuff. Goodbye, yo, and bye.